رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. And we resume inshallah. We continue from the book of Zakat. We read back and I think Jazallah Khair, Sister Zainab, she has the part missing, so it will be sent to you بإذن الله تعالى, which is the introduction. You have the English part but not the Arabic part. يقول المصنف رحمه الله تعالى: كتاب الزكاة تجب بشروط 5: حرية وإسلام وملك نصاب واستقراره ومضي الحول في غير المعشر إلا نتاج السائمة وربح التجارة ولو لم يبلغ نصابا، فإن حولهما حول أصلهما إن كان نصابا وإلا فمن كماله. If you have any question concerning what we have done last time, we mentioned first, about the meaning of the kitab and the meaning of the zakat and the wisdom of the zakat and the impact and the benefit of the zakat and the role of the zakat in the Islamic system, in the economy, and into, in the person himself, as zakah from increase and zakah from purify. So we studied all that, alhamdulillah. And then we mentioned that what are the shurut of az-zakat, what are the condition for observing and performing the action of worship, which is the zakat, which is paying the zakat. قال تجب بشروط 5: حرية, for someone to be, of course, free. And when we add حرية here, knowing that the author was writing in a period where there's, servitude and etc. قال حرية, because when someone is a servant, he does not dispose and control or manage his own money. Then قال حرية وإسلام. Al-Islam is to be Muslim, someone who therefore can be receiving and understanding the khitab, the speech that being addressed to him from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and from his messenger. So the Muslim, he's the one who will be already in the on the path, and his objective in his life is really to fulfill the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa rasulah. We mentioned that does a non-Muslim has the obligation, does the Muslim non-Muslim obligated to perform the zakat? We mentioned Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the beginning of Surah Fussilat, قال وويل للمشركين الذين لا يؤتون الزكاة. And we studied, the difference of opinion about the scholar, but the most important thing is saying like the zakat and the pillar of Islam, everyone is required to perform them. The Muslim as being, accepted and submitted to the way of Allah, and everyone else, when he comes to submit to the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال وملك, the third one, وملك نصاب, that he owned the nisab, and the nisab is the minimum requirement of the specific of the wealth, the minimum required of the wealth upon which someone has to pay the zakat. And then we study, inshallah, the types of the wealth on which the zakat is obligated. واستقراره, we said استقراره, so it's like in his hand, and he can control. He doesn't think that he has, for example, things like that fluctuate, and he cannot, hold on his hand, and he doesn't know. Someone he's taken, for example, advantage or renting a place that it need, to be fixed. and it might, not be coming to the hawl and will be still, valid or in a state that can use it. Things like استقراره أي استقرار الملك. So استقراره, the stability of what he has as a property. قال كذلك ومن معاني الاستقرار الملك التام. ومن معاني الاستقرار, from also the meaning of the استقرار, that someone he has the full and complete property of the wealth that reach the nisab, and therefore he going to pay on it zakat. قال ومضي الحول, and then الحول is the year, a whole year, after someone has that nisab for a whole year, he going to pay the zakat. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا زكاة في مال حتى يحول عليه الحول. لا زكاة في مال, no zakat on any wealth till the hawl will be fully completed. So the hawl is the year. حديث أخرجه ابن ماجه. And this is the zaman, because and this is the average, subhanallah, in the sharia. If you say every day is not going to be possible, or week or month, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it to be in a year, which is really go from both parts, the part that will not be burden on those who want to pay zakat, and also a year after the year, those who need the zakat, there will be, it's a good time for them to have it, rather than to make it, for example, 2 years. It's going to be like difficult for those who are in needy, waiting for their zakat. And the year is also known to be, the period when people, they calculate their profit. So this is some of, the wisdom, if you can say, when talking about the year. قال واستثنى المؤلف أشياء لا يشترط لها تمام الحول. And the exception of things, some of the wealth that does not fulfill the condition or does not require the condition of the complete year, to complete the year. فقال في غير المعشر, and this is of course related to the harvest. So the harvest, when you have people, they reap and they get their harvest at the moment of the harvest, they have to pay at the time of the harvest. كما قال سبحانه وتعالى وآتوا حقه يوم حصاده ونتاج السائمة, the product coming from the cattle, الماشية, that's also مستثنى. ومضي الحول إلا ما تنتجه السائمة أي أولادها, هذا هو الثاني. فلا يشترط له تمام الحول. You have, for example, someone cows and goats, and whatever the goats they give birth, you add it to what you have. So what is being given birth, you will not wait for it to make a whole year to pay zakat on it. وَرِبْحُ التِّجَارَةِ, and the profit made out of business. The profit made out of business, because the business, it has عروض التجارة. So you have like a stock, inventory, and think all of that is being already invested before a year. So if the profit is made at the end of the year, someone has to calculate it part of the tijara, because it's the product and the effort of all the investment that been existing more than a year. So we cannot say like the money only was made or received after 6 months, therefore you have to wait another 6 months. No, this is a business, so it's going to be the profit will not wait for a whole year. قال وهذا لا يشترط له تمام الحول لأن المسلمون يخرجون زكاته دون أن يحذفوا ربح التجارة. And the ربح is فرع. الربح فرع. The profit is a result of an investment. So is a result. So, and the fara', the branch or the thing that is a result, it will be joined or to the asl, to the root. طيب. قال وربح التجارة ولو لم يبلغ نصابا. The Prophet, if he doesn't get to the minimum requirement, which is the nisab, you have to add it to the initial investment, and therefore you pay the zakat on the whole amount. فإن حولهما حول أصلهما إن كان نصابا. فإن حولهما, as we mentioned, the hawl, when the year is completed, is related. The year goes back to the asl, to what you have initially. واضح؟ إن كان نصابا وإلا فمن كماله ربح التجارة. قال وإلا فمن كماله. وإلا فإذا كان مثلا قال if you have, for example, 35 شاة goat فليس فيها زكاة. You don't pay zakat on 35. Why? Because the minimum number of goat to pay zakat on it is 40. And during the year, he had goats who gave him, new goats. قال نتجت كل واحدة منها سخلة فنحسب الحول من تمام النصاب. So here the meaning here عندما قال ولو لم يبلغ نصابا حولهما حول أصلهما إن كان نصابا وإلا فمن كماله. كماله is what is being added during the year, and what added during the year have the numbers, for example, of the cattle to reach the nisab. Then at the moment when the nisab was reached, that's from where we calculate the time of the hawl. Do you have any question here? Huh? But we explained it last time. Huh? But now for the masail, if you have a question, any of the what we have studied,
Maybe I didn't understand this thing. As far as the, okay, you said if you have 35 cattle or goat, and then you, let's say at the term end, you get to be, let's say with the production and so on and so forth, you get to like 40 or 41. Now, at that time, do you start your zakat from that time on, or do you consider that as the entire thing and say, okay, we have to pay zakat on all 41 of them at this time, or should we have to wait a year from that point to get the
Right. If the minimum nisab for the zakat al-mashiyah, when we're talking about goat, is 40, because we're going to study that. If he has already 40 in the beginning of the year, and then some of those goats, they gave birth during the year. At the end of the year, for example, they become 60 or 120, for example. He has to pay zakat on the 120. Why? Because the new goat he had, he didn't invest them. They came from the goat that he has. So we added to the number. Wadah? This is clear, inshallah. So whatever, if he has from the beginning 40, which is the minimum that he's going to pay zakat, all the goats generated or came from those goats he has, he going to pay zakat on it in the end of the year. For example, if in January he has 40, in April he has like 43, and then June and July. At the end of the December he has, for example, 100. The zakat he's gonna pay it on the 100. Rather. Now, if in January he has 35, so he's not actually required to pay zakat on 35. In April he has like 2 goats, they become 37. And then in June he gets like another, for example, 37, he has 3. So they become 40. Now he has to pay zakat on 40. We start from June. And from June to the next June, whatever we have goats is going to be paid from that June. So the counter of the time, the click starts, the tick of the time starts when we reach the nisab. So this is the meaning when he said, قال فإن حولهما حول أصلهما فإن حولهما حول أصلهما قال إلا نتاج السائمة وربح التجارة نتاج السائمة. So let's read again, and I read it in English. So the zakat is obligatory with 5 conditions. The first one, freedom. The second one, Islam. The third one is mulkun nisab, the property of the nisab. The fourth one, the stability of that property. So he has in his hand, in control. For example, if he has the money and the money he gave it away as a debt, and someone disappeared, so he doesn't have. So istiqrarihi, like he still has it, he controls it, he has it. That's the fourth. وَمُضِيُّ الْحَوْلِ, and a year passed, a complete year. So you have one of the conditions that he will have that minimum requirement. What is the nisab again? What is the nisab? The nisab is the minimum requirement of the wealth, on which the zakat is obligatory. We gave you last time about the dirham and the thing. We said 85 gram, and we make the 500 dirham from fidda, and we made or the awqiya khamsa awaqi, and we make the calculation, and we said the minimum is around 3,600 or 3,500, right? You have $3,500. This $3,500 قال ملك نصاب, you own it. استقراره, you have it, it doesn't change. ومضي الحول, for a whole year. After a year, you have to pay zakat on it. If it reduces because you have bills to pay, or you have someone, some special circumstances, he paid out of $1,000, then he comes, at that time, at the end of the year, he has only $2,500. He will not pay zakat on it. Because the zakat is paid on the saving, on what you have extra. The income that you have, and you use it for your food, you use it for your rent, you use it for your paying, someone's, payment of the house, using for the school for the children, using for your clothes, using for everything that that's not part of the zakat. That is like doesn't exist. The zakat is what you save, you don't touch, on the side. That's the zakat. يسألونك ماذا ينفقون قل العفو. العفو, what you have extra. What you have extra. That's why the hawl, if someone after a whole year he didn't use that $10,000, he has to pay zakat on it. If he didn't use it for a whole year, then it's extra. So it's afu. واضح. Question? We're gonna study it. This part is clear, inshallah. Now, do we apply the condition of the year, complete year, on all the type of wealth? Because the Sharia determined for us what are the type of wealth that we pay zakat on it. And we're going to study it too, which means the main currency of the exchange and transaction, gold and silver, and whatever is converted to from currency, notes, electronic money that you have in your bank. All of that. Then, urud al-tijara, whatever you invest and you buy as inventory and you buy and sell, and you have it on your shelf and you have it in the storage and you have it in the warehouse and then you sell it, all of that, that's also you pay zakat on it. And whatever someone he's getting from out of the earth as plantation, vegetation, fruits, thimar, then comes to the cattle. So those are the wealth. Someone's car, you don't pay zakat on it. Your house, you don't pay zakat on it. A second house, you don't pay zakat on it. You have a land, a property somewhere, you don't pay zakat on it. And as those property, you have them for business. You buy and sell houses, you pay zakat on that because it's an investment and you pay on the profit. And the jewelry that even the difference of opinion among the scholars is on the gold. People, they have pearls and they have diamonds, that you don't pay zakat on. The condition of the hawl applies on mainly the currency, the gold and the silvers. Now he's gonna make an exception. He said you don't need this condition of a year to wait for a whole year to pay the zakat. When we're talking about whatever comes from the earth, the harvest. The harvest is either like your harvest of wheat or harvest of of orange or harvest, whatever you're going to reap at the time of the harvest. The payment of the zakat need to be done the same day of the harvest. You cannot say like, oh, I just got it here in the warehouse, I'm going to pay it after 1 year. He said, no, it doesn't apply here the year. You have to pay it on time. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال وَآتُوا حَقَّهُ يَوْمَ حَصَادِ. What else will not apply the year on it? Is نتاج السائمة. نتاج السائمة. السائمة are المواشي. And we're going to explain the meaning of السائمة. That's why I don't want to go into details and things when we're going to study it after. السائمة is the animals that someone has and been provided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone has goats, small goats, and he still keep feeding the goat himself. He buy the food for the goat. This, according to the scholar, don't pay zakat. A sa'ima is the one who go like in the open land, in the pasture, it eat from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, grow on the earth. That's a sa'ima. So a sa'ima are the cattle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned them in His book. Mainly, الأزواج 8 أزواج من الضأن 2 ومن المعز 2 ومن الإبل 2 ومن البقر 2. So those are السائمة mainly. And then you open up whatever someone has to pay, because the other thing is going to be counted as investment. نتاج السائمة is what you gain or you have as new product from the same, from the investment that you have. You have goats. Whatever these goats deliver is related to those original goats. So the product that you get from those goats or from those camels is going to be related to the original ones. So natij al-sa'ima doesn't require a year. You have 40 goats in January. In December they are 40. You pay zakat on 40. Those 40 goats gave, delivered, new goats, baby goats. Or the baby goats added during the year, they're going to be counted in the zakat. That's the product coming from those sa'ima. Why? Because they derive from the original ones that you have. Now, I'll give you an example to be more clear. Someone has 40 goats, and those goats gave birth to another 40. And during the year, he bought 20 goats. 40, and then you have 40 new born, and you have 20 bought. So you have 40 plus 40, 80, plus 20, you're going to pay, you have 100 goats. What is the number of the goats on which you're going to apply the zakat? Huh? On 80 only. He has 40 in January. These 40, they gave him 40 goats born. And in the mid of the year, he bought 20 new goats. In December, the zakat, he's going to apply it on how many goats? On 80. Because the 20 he bought, they don't derive from the original. These 20, they're going to start from, for example, he bought them in April, he's going to factor them in April. From April, he's going to add them to the nisab. واضح إن شاء الله. Just to make this, example so that the natij of a sa'ima, whatever derived from the original, is going to be added to it. He kept different, it depends. So, he going to pay, when he add the 20, he's going to have a new calculation of the term. But at the end, he's going to pay on 80 in that first year. Because he can pay in different days, but he can then merge them by make calculation by portion. But this is an example to show that in the end of the year, the 20 are not included. Okay, the 20 are not included because he bought them new, not derived. That's what we want to specify. قال إلا نتاج السائمة. نتاج السائمة. نتاج السائمة. قال فإن حولهما حول أصلهما. Their end of the year or the end of the term is the term of their asl, from where they were originated. Is like their, let's say the mothers. So they're gonna be associated to the mothers. Now, if in the beginning he has only 20, and during the year they give birth the 20 to another 20. So by January he has 20, by June he has 40. He go on, in this case, the hawl, the term of calculating from where start the hawl is going to start in June. That's the meaning what he said. قال إن كان نصابا وإلا if it wasn't what he had in the beginning, the minimum number required for the zakat, then the term of the year will start as soon as he completes the nisab during the year. واضح? In January he has 20. This 20, by June they give birth to 20, another 20 goats. So in June, it is in June when he completed the nisab, 40. So he's gonna put in his calendar, the zakat of these 40, they're going to start when? They're going to start in June. That's what he meant, وَإِلَّا فَمِنْ كَمَالِ. So those are principles. When it comes to the practice, of course, there's more, I wouldn't say more detail and more calculation type.
You were planning to make the zakat in December, for example, from January. Are you deducting from what you had in June, or you include it? For example, you start your year from January, then you want to do the zakat in December. You said you not include that one you had in June.
No, those 20, he doesn't have to pay zakat on them. He only have to pay zakat on when they make a year. Yes, on all of them.
What about the 20 you had before? The 20 you had in January, the year will be in December, and you can pay twice?
Oh no, you don't pay. As long as you don't have zakat, nisab, you don't pay.
But for example, it was the nisab. For example, you had a couple of nisab, January, and then you increase, you get another 20 increase.
You buy them, not from them.
Yes.
Because the difference here is either the goat, they give you new goats that you put them together, or you buy new goats. You only pay on time. 20 in January, you have those you bought on June, their zakat is only due the next June. Because the zakat, it doesn't mean you have, Mahmoud, the zakat, you don't have to pay it only 1 year. Every product you pay is zakat. It's like people today, they have bills, they pay every month. Or they have supply, they pay every 3 months. So someone here has this one, his zakat is due. And if you want to make them all together, he either can advance the payment of the zakat, or he can make by, portion to see how much zakat is due, and then he can put them. So that will becomes like more accounting and calculation. طيب. ومن كان له دين أو حق من صداق أو غيره على مليء أو غيره أدى زكاته إذا قبضه لما مضى. طيب. Now, the next مسألة ومن كان له دين. If you have a loan, not you have loaned someone, you borrowed someone money. Just a mas'ala that it has difference of opinion between the scholars. That the zakat is obligatory because, look, in the shurut, he didn't have said puberty, for example, al-aqlu. He didn't say that. For example, the salat require al-bulugh, right? Al-siyamu require al-bulugh. Al-hajju require al-bulugh. Al-bulugh is the age of puberty. For someone to be commissioned to be in the age where you're going to be accountable. The other here, he didn't mention it in the zakah. And here we have difference of opinion. I'll give you an example. An orphan who has money, he inherited money, and he's still minor. Do we pay the zakat on his money or not? Now, the difference of opinion here, we'll study it more, but just to give you the idea, is the obligation is on the money, or the obligation, because it's a worship, therefore it's upon the one, who going to pay the zakat. So the zakat is على الذمة or على المال. Say, whatever you have nisab is either owned by minor, or owned by a grown-up, or owned by an insane person, or owned by safih, but by a manager, you have to pay money to pay zakat on it. Or should the zakat be only paid on the one who's like, balighun, so who's the one mukallaf? If we say on the mukallaf, then the orphan, you don't pay money on him till when he reached the age of puberty and he get his money, he going to pay money on him, because he will not have in his hand the money, because he cannot, manage it. So when he reached the age of puberty, قال فإن آنستم منهم رشدا فادفعوا إليهم أموالهم صح وابتلوا اليتامى حتى إذا بلغوا النكاح فإن آنستم منهم رشدا فادفعوا إليهم أموالهم. So the orphan, when they get the age of, they're going to be having a family and everything, and you feel that they have a maturity, give them their money. Do those who manage their money before, do they have to pay the zakat? Because when he gonna have to the maturity and becomes the age of puberty, he said, why did you spend my money? So the answer is gonna be, he said, we had to pay it because this is a zakat. And this is a difference of opinion between the scholar rahmatullahi alayhi. We can study it more if you wish, because this is one of the masail that are important. Because we have from the Salaf, those who didn't pay for the orphans. Didn't pay for the orphans. Any question? Wallah, if there's difference of opinion, there's no ijma. I'll give you some of the adana. قال, there's three opinions. First opinion is an obligation to pay the zakat on the young ones. The second is not an obligation to pay to zakat on their money. You save it, and then when they become to the age of puberty, so they manage their money, at that time they have to pay the zakat. The first one is opinion narrated or reported that Umar radiyallahu ta'ala an, Ali wa Jabir wa Aisha min as-sahaba radwanullahi ta'ala alayhi. As Umar radiyallahu ta'ala an, he used to say, اتجروا في أموال اليتامى لا تأكلها الزكاة. Invest and do business in the money of the orphans, so the zakat will not eat it or like reduce it. Because if you don't invest the money, then the zakat is going to take the whole saving. ومثل هذا القول روي عن عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها. And this is the saying of Imam Malik والشافعي والثوري وأحمد. لا تجب على الصغار. لا تجب على الصغار. It's not an obligation on the young ones. This is the saying of النخعي والحسن, الإمام الحسن البصري وسعيد ibn al-Musayyib, and also the Ja'fari school. The third opinion is a wasat. They said the zakat is obligatory on whatever wealth they had from food, vegetation, or cattle, but money, no. And here there's a difference in what they call أموال ظاهرة وأموال باطنة. الأموال الظاهرة, the apparent wealth, is what everyone see. You'll be driving and you see this is big land. To whom belong this land? To these orphans. And so when the time of the harvest, the zakat need to be paid. You cannot say we cannot pay or give to the poor. Why? Because it belongs to orphans. So this is, al-amwal al-dhahira. The other is being stored or like saved in a place for when the orphan they come to an age to give it to them. This opinion is the opinion of Al-Imam Abi Hanifa. The opinion of Al-Imam Abi Hanifa is for the young ones, for those below a minor, to pay the zakat on the wealth, which is like maybe anything that is planted and come out from the earth and from the cattle, and to not pay zakat on the money like silver and gold. Those who are saying no payment, like the Tabi'in and Abu Hanifa, on the money especially, because they said this zakat is ibadah, and the ibadah could not only be fulfilled when the person reached the age of puberty. So this is, in brief, the opinion of the scholar concerning the payment of the zakat. The other thing is, look here, qala, which is going to help us to go through the next mas'ala. قال هنا ومن كان له دين, the one who has a dain, ما ثبت في الذمة من قرض وثمن مبيع وأجرة. So someone who has, he loaned money, or he want money from someone who, for example, he sold him a commodity, he sold him something and he didn't get his money back. So here قال بالضبط ومن كان له دين أو حق من صداق أو غيره أو حق من صداق أو غيره, or he has a haqq, a right, a money that he need to take, like sadaq, the dowry. So a couple, they get married on a dowry, fix it. At the time of the marriage, the husband, he doesn't have enough money, so he'll ask, he say, I will pay it later. This is, for example, half, I'll pay it later. The wali and the bride will accept, say, ala barakatillah. So that sadaq, it is a debt. That sadaq is a debt. If someone has a loan or sadaq like this one, so a woman, she wants her sadaq, and it is required to be paid, so it's like a dain, it's like a debt. ومن كان له دين أو حق من صداق أو غيره على مليء. So any right that someone has on someone else, but he didn't receive it yet. على مليء is someone who has, he can afford to pay you back. المليء, he's الغني. مليء is like full. مليء from ملأ, from full. So someone who's غني, he's rich. So if you have your debt on someone who can pay you now, قال على مليء أو غيره أدى زكاته إذا قبضه. He will pay the zakat Now this is here when we have the different opinion. He has to pay the zakat. Only when he receives the money. إذا قبضه لما مضى. Example, at the end of the year, you calculate your money. Someone is doing his calculation. He'll find, for example, he has $10,000, and he has, a debt, a loan that he gave to someone of his friend, $5,000. This $5,000, is he going to add it to what he has to pay zakat, or wait till he get the money? According to the opinion of the author, he will wait till he get the money. But when he get the $5,000, he has to pay on all the years past. So, for example, $10,000 in 2000, this year. He only gonna get his money after, for example, 3 years, 2020. In 2020, he has to pay 5,000, the zakat of 5,000, 3 years. Well, 2.5% times 3. That's why the other opinion, قال إن كان على مليء, if someone, the one that he borrowed him, that someone of of trust, and he can get his money at any time, he has to pay it even though he's in the hand of the one who borrowed him every year. So instead of waiting when he get the money to pay the zakat on all the past years, he'll pay it every year. طيب. قال no, the one who had the money, you borrow him the money, he's not gonna pay on you. You pay on your money because it doesn't belong to him. He's going to give it back. واضح? So the author, what he stated us, قال أو غيره أدى زكاته إذا قبضه لما مضى. Now, even if it's not mali, I mean he's not rich, he cannot afford to pay you. قال قول أدى زكاته إذا قبضه أي لا يلزمه أن يؤدي زكاته قبل قبضه فهو مرخص له في عدم أداء الزكاة حتى يقبضه. According to the author, he had the permission to not pay the money on the debt that or the loan that he loaned any person, for example, his friend, till he get the money back. But when he get the money back, he has to pay on all the years past. واضح. Yes. No, the one who gave the loan, he's the one who's going to pay because that's his money. So, for example, when someone he's going to make, like, for example, say, how much do I have? I'm going to calculate my zakat. Say, for example, you find, after the bank and the saving he has, he said $10,000. I have from this income, this $5,000. This is $15,000. And I have $5,000 I borrowed to someone. So that's his money, right? So the question here, the money, there's no istiqrar. It's not in his hand. He cannot control it. That's one of the conditions. That's why the author, he put it. He said, as long as he cannot control it, it's not in his hand, he doesn't pay on it. It doesn't mean that he's not going to pay on it. He said he had the permission to not pay, but the year when he's going to have it, in 2 years, he's going to pay zakat on the past 2 years. In 3 years, he's going to pay zakat on the past 3 years. Huh? Because that money belongs to you.
Yeah, but you don't have it at the time.
But that's why the one who gave him the money, he can afford to pay you. And he promised to pay you, and he knows that he's gonna pay you. That's why we're gonna get the case of the delinquent people, the one who refused to pay you. That's another case.
I mean, what's the hikmah behind it?
More,
All those past years.
the hikmah, because معناها you had to pay every year. That's one of the opinion. It's like saving, but the saving you have it in the bank. The difference is that you're saving, you just hit, get to your account and you see it. It's there, you pay on it. The other one, you have just a paper, that is in the hand of your friend. So here the author, he said, the money you don't pay it, it's yours, but you have the permission to not pay zakat on it. Why? Because it's not in your hand. When you get it back, you're gonna pay zakat on the year past. So this is one opinion. The second opinion is to pay zakat on it because it's either in the bank or in the hand of your friend. You have to pay zakat on it. And this one is easier. The opinion of the author, he's saying, even though he's a mali, you're not sure, for example, you have 10,000, but after 3 years, he's going to give you, look, this is 7,000, I cannot give you more. Forget about the rest. So you're going to pay the zakat for 3 years on 7,000, not on 10,000. Now, if someone is delinquent and he doesn't want to pay, you don't pay anything because that money, you don't have it. You're not sure you're going to have it. This money, if after years you get paid back this money, then you pay the zakat when you get the money on only 1 year. See the difference now, Muhammad? Because the second one, you're not sure that you're going to get the money. So it's like you don't have it. So when you get it back, it's like something lost and found. Like, example, someone is, in a society where there is a lot of, thieves and stealing, and there is a lot of things not secure and safe. He has some gold and he go like dig a place and he hide them. Then he forget where he put them. So he doesn't have them anymore, even though it's his own property. Here, the opinion, you don't pay zakat on those because you didn't find them. But after years, you find maybe the map where when you hid them. Then when you find them back, you only pay for that year where you find them. This is exactly the same as giving a loan to someone and he doesn't want to pay you or he cannot pay you, and then you almost give up. That's, you get it out from your assets. It's out of your assets. When you get it back, it's like a gift came to you. So that gift, you pay zakat on it on that year. For the first case, it's like you calculate it on your money. You have this money in the bank, this money, for example, in stock. This money, I have it borrowed to these people. I have the list. And they know these people. I've been dealing with them. These are trusty people. So this is your money. You pay zakat on it. Now, for those, we have two opinions. How are you going to pay it? It's either you pay every year because you consider part of your assets, or you will wait till you get them. And when you get them, then you have to pay for the previous years because you postpone the payment of the zakat every year in case you might not get them. But then when you get them, said, okay, now I have to pay the previous year. So here, the hikmah of the previous year, it wasn't like comes afterward. Actually, in the beginning, you should have paid them, but you postponed them, according to the author here, because you might not get them, or you might get lower than what you have loaned. واضح؟ تفضل.
So, okay, I understand what you're saying. Because if you loan someone a money, X amount of dollars, and they give you a little amount of it, you didn't get the entire thing. Now, supposing that they pay you, okay, let's go with the number. Like you said, 10,000, and the person is only giving 7,000 back. But his intention is to pay 7,000, but he says, I'll pay you 500 every month until it's paid. What do you do then?
No, that's paying. So the amount, every 500 paid, it reduced from the nisab. So, for example, if he pay 500, by the end of the year he would have paid how much? 6,000. 6,000. When the money comes under 3,500, then you don't pay zakat on it because it came below the nisab. As long you only pay on the remaining, as long the remaining is more than nisab, Okay.
So even that includes with whatever other amount you've got. Let's say you've got something say 10,000.
Whatever you got, you deduct it. Whatever you got, you deduct it. And then whatever you got is either someone spent it or he has it in saving. So the recalculation of what he has at that time, for a whole year, more than nisab, that's what he has to pay zakat on it. Which also, some of the people, they have difficulties when they have one account and they put all their money in it. And they have, people, they have, substantial income. And the same account, they pay, all their bills from it. And the bills, he said, all what you need as necessities and needs and, things that usually people, they get and they spend, that's not included in the zakat. So how can they calculate the amount of the zakat? One of the easy way to find it is to someone to study or to check the average balance for the whole year. So the average balance for the whole year is like that's what you have saved without you knowing that you are saving it. And that average is above the nisab, you pay on that average balance. Clear? طيب. قال ومن كان له دين أو حق من صداق أو غيره على مليء أو غيره أدى زكاته إذا قبضه لما مضى. So according to the author, he will pay the zakat when he received it for the past years. ولا زكاة في مال من عليه دين ينقص النصاب ولا زكاة في مال من عليه دين. Now, if someone has a debt, if someone has a debt and he has money or any of the wealth that reach the nisab, according to the author, if that debt reduced from the part of the nisab, he will not pay zakat. You see, now we go to the other side. Someone has $10,000, but he has as a debt 5,000. He has as a debt $7,000. What are you going to do? He's going to reduce the 7,000 from the 10,000. So if the remaining is less than nisab, he will not pay zakat. You're gonna say but he has $10,000. He said, but the 10,000 he only owned 3,000 from. The 7,000 is a debt. So this person will not pay zakat. That's the meaning in his saying, قال ولا زكاة في مال من عليه دين من عليه دين ينقص النصاب. So if the debt reduce the money to be less than the nisab, then there is no money. قال ولو كان المال ظاهرا. Now, according to the author here, even the words is ظاهرة, and they give you the definition between الظاهر والباطن. المال الظاهر, the wealth that you can see, the wealth, the tangible wealth. المال الباطن is the one that is only known by evaluation. You have to have the value of it. So someone, for example, say he has gold and silver. How much? What the value of it? So that's batin, is not known, hidden. So wealth that is hidden. The other one, ظاهر, he has 40 cows, 10 camels, lands, this, that's vast land, etc., etc. So that's ما ظاهر. So according to the author, قال ولو كان مالا ظاهر, even though he has مال ظاهر, the wealth, the type of the wealth that is tangible, the way we explain it, he should reduce it from the, he should reduce the dain from it, reduce the debt from it. قال ولا زكاة في مال من عليه دين ينقص النصاب. Example, someone has $10,000. We didn't come to that masala. We're gonna come to it. If you're gonna include there is no hajj, no zakat, nothing. So the second opinion is the debt doesn't have any effect on the zakat. If you have debt, you don't calculate it. Whatever you have as saving, you pay zakat on it. You don't reduce zakat. You don't reduce the day. The strong opinion is to analyze between these two opinions. Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he used to say, قال يا أيها الناس إن هذا شهر زكاة أموالكم. He said, in the time when he say, for example, Muhammad, he say, this is the month of payment of your zakat. فمن كان عليه دين فليقضه ثم ليزكي. Whoever who has debt, he should pay it, and then he has to pay the zakat if that's the nisab. Now we say there's two types of duyun, two types of debt. There's a debt that you get, for example, at the short term, that you have to pay. It's a due date. The due date just came. So while you are holding it, you have to pay it. So that debt that someone has going to pay, that's the one that you're going to reduce from his assets. Why? Because he has to pay it. مُمَاطَلَةُ الْغَنِيِّ ظُلْمٌ. The one who postpones when he can afford to pay, that's a transgression, that's haram, that's a major sin. So this one, when you're talking about the taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has to deduct it from his saving because he has to pay it. Now someone, he has a debt, a long-term debt, like for example the house, this one should not be interfered into the zakat at all. Why? Because it's not due. It's due in 30 years or 20 years or 15 years, and you pay it monthly. So that monthly payment, it becomes like those, subhanallah, the monthly payment you deducted from your saving because you've been paying. So in reality, you're deducting, but you're deducting what is due on that year and is not part of the zakat. In the year, for example, someone is paying, for example, 30,000. If someone has only 30,000, that 30,000 is gonna be affected where? Or being given to pay the payment he has. But we cannot reduce what is going to come in the next years, because the next years is not due actually. So it's not going to be considered as a dain to reduce it from the assets. No. Whatever you have as a saving, you pay zakat from it. Whatever you're going to pay for the house in the next year is going to be deducted on its own, and that's part of the money that you use with someone what he's spending for the necessities, food and clothes and everything. So nothing have to do with the zakat. So the dain here, it need to be regarded basis either a dain that it need to be paid, that one it need to be reduced from the saving, and if the remaining is above the nisab, you pay the zakat. The other one, it should not interfere with the saving. It should not interfere with the saving because it's been already automatically deducted and part of the expenses of the year. Any question or clarification? قال ولا زكاة في مال من عليه دين ينقص النصاب ولو كان المال ظاهرا Let's finish this small paragraph. قال وكفارة كدين. Kafara, if someone has any fidya or kafara that he has to pay. Kafaratu sawm, for example, he didn't fast or she didn't fast and she has to pay the kafara. Diya, anything that is haqqullah, haqqu Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's a due that he has to pay to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, related to the worship, related to huquq fil ibadah. This need to be regarded exactly as the debt. It needs to be paid first. As Allah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, قال أن امرأة سألت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن أمها نذرت أن تحج فلم تحج حتى ماتت. The lady, she came to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم telling him that her mother, she make nadhr to make hajj. And a nadhr is a promise to fulfill an action becomes an obligation. So the nadhr is you initiate an action that you make it obligatory on yourself by the action of nadhr. He said, nadhartu an ahuj, for example. Say, I make a promise, I'm committed to make hajj. So that becomes an obligation. So this lady is saying to the Prophet ﷺ that her mother did nadhr to make hajj, but she didn't do it, and she died. Look what the Prophet ﷺ said. So the saying here of the author is extracted from this hadith. قال فقال لها أرأيت لو كان على أمك دين أكنت قاضيته. He said, see, if your mother had a debt, were you going to pay it or not? أي أكنت ستقضي الدين أكنت قاضيته. قالت نعم. What's her answer? She said, yes, of course. قال اقضوا الله فالله أحق بالوفاء. Therefore he said, pay back the debt to Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one, the greatest or the highest in a priority to pay the debt to Him. So this is debt that someone made, he has to pay to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, قال وَكَفَّارَةٌ كَدَيْنٍ. So the kafara, it will be treated as a dayn. It has to be paid. It has to be paid. Someone has saving, in this case, and the season of the Hajj is coming, and they say, the mother passed away, she didn't make Hajj, and I have this money. This money, what should I pay zakat on it or not? Say, if you deduct the money of the Hajj and is less than nisab, you don't pay zakat. Why? Because the money of the Hajj here is a debt. Someone has 20,000, like, for example, someone has, for example, 10,000. The Hajj says 7,000 or 8,000. 10,000 he pays zakat. The Hajj, if he going to save for the Hajj, is going to have only 2,000 remaining. So in this case, you do not pay the zakat. Now this is the case of another. Not everyone going to Hajj is going to say, no, I'm not going to pay zakat. Yes.
So another, we asked if somebody passed away and it's looked at Hajj. It's on the 10,000 they have. Then you go to inheritance or you go to Hajj.
No, if he in his wasiyah, because if in his wasiyah to use part of his money to make Hajj on his behalf, the money will be reduced from the estate, the remaining will be distributed on the inheritors.
How about if you made another instead?
Yeah? If the nether, he needs to be reduced before even to distribute the money. This lady, she's not saying that the nether, she's going to pay it from the money of her mother. She's going to pay it from her own. The Prophet ﷺ said, if your mother has a debt and she could not pay it and passed away, the people of the debt, they're going to come to who? They're going to come to her kids. He said, we have a debt and your mother didn't pay us. So the Prophet ﷺ said, are you going to pay it or not? She said, yes. He said the same thing for the Hajj, because that's a debt with Allah. So it's like to help her mother, to be bara to her mother, to fulfill for her another that she did and she couldn't fulfill. Your example is different case, because this person who make another and he died and he has money, then they have to use that money to fulfill on him the Hajj before even distribute the inheritance. So that's gonna be put on hold, because that's the first debt. When in estate, the first thing that they do is to pay the debts. First, the requirement of the funeral, and whatever he has dain with Allah and dain with the people, the remaining is going to be distributed. Because sometimes people, they think like, the deceased one was very rich. They end up having debts because he was in debt, but nobody knew, for example. That's why, because the debts need to be paid before the distribution of the estate. Further.
What about if you have another, then you're still alive, but you know that you're not going to fulfill? Can you take it by the fasting, 3 days, something like that?
Well, it depends on the case. If someone he's not able, he's not able. But as long as he's alive, he can delay it. If not, he has to make a kafara for it. He has to pay an expiation for it. Because the nether is by someone's own choice he made the obligation. And when it comes to situation that he cannot fulfill, then he pay expiation, or he can do, depends, someone study it, inshallah. If there's a special case, someone can study it, or someone he has to do a tawbah. If he cannot afford it, if he cannot do it, or something passed. Further.
Just wanted to clarify that. So let's say if a person passed away and he's another, and he has a debt that needs to also be paid, but the person who is handling, or let's say the children, cannot make ends meet. So what comes as a priority? Does the Hajj comes first before the debt? If the people want their money and the Hajj is there.
No, the people money goes first.
People,
yeah, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Arhamur Rahimin, He can forgive him. Those people, they want their money. طيب, do you want a break? Break? The Maghrib? So you want to take your break before Maghrib? After Maghrib? After Maghrib? طيب. طيب. Let's continue. Any question you have? I mean, the chapter is, mashallah, it has a lot of things. But let's structure it in look. Let's structure this way. The condition of the zakat. And every condition, we have, masail. The first mas'ala that we were talking is the masail of the mulk al-nisab. Have it or don't have it. This is include in it the dain. Include in it the mahr. Include in it things like that. Mudhi al-hawl, a year, we have the exception of the tenth that you pay on the harvest, and exception of the product that derived from the cattle themselves. Right? So this is how we think. Then we had the zakat is obligatory on money or obligatory on people. The zakat is, the majority of the scholars, they say is obligatory on the money. But when it comes to orphans, someone can, depends on the society, depends on the condition, he might take the other opinion to save the, keep intact the money of the orphan. Depends. So this is why it's good to have this different opinion, to know them. So someone like help people to have the best maslaha possible. Best maslaha possible. طيب. قال وإن ملك نصابا صغارا انعقد حوله حين ملكه. طيب. قال وإن ملك نصابا صغارا انعقد حوله حين ملكه. أي في المواشي. This is concerning the مواشي. مواشي are the cattle. إن ملك نصابا صغارا انعقد حوله من حين ملكه. لعموم قول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في كل 40 شاة. Now, the problem here, the issue that the scholar, that the author is mentioning, what if the goat or the lamb or the thing, they are very young babies? And for example, when it comes to the udhiyah, there's a minimum requirement of age, right? Minimum requirement for age. For certain are 2 years, for the young ones like the lamb is 6 months. So if someone has just bought them as babies, will he wait till they get to that age where they can be offered to udhiyah to be considered as a true well, or he going to calculate the time of the nisab the day he bought them? So that's what he's saying. The Prophet ﷺ قال في كل 40 شاة. In every 40 goats, the zakat is 1 goat. So 40 goats, there's no specification of the age. There's no specification. In كانت هذه الصغار, there's no specification of the age. But here he's saying, الشارح قال إن كانت هذه الصغار تتغذى باللبن فقط فلا زكاة فيها لأنها غير سائمة الآن. ومن شروط وجوب الزكاة في الماشية أن تكون سائمة. And by the way, this is one of the opinions. He said, if the baby that he has, they are fed by milk only, as long as they are fed by milk, the zakat is not an obligation on them. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ قال في السائمة الزكاة. What is a sa'ima, we said? That is being fed by the nature, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever he subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's growing in the earth, they go in the open land and they eat. But if the owner, he is buying the food for them, then there is no zakat. See the Sharia. So here the specification said, if they are fed by the leban, by the milk, so he's the one who's working and getting to have them, or from their mother, therefore he will not pay zakat on them. قال لأن من شروط الزكاة السائمة. And this is for some scholars, because the Prophet ﷺ specified with السائمة. السائمة التي ترعى. الرعي, so with the shepherd, they go out and they have the whole day, they eat and they come back. That's that's the zakat they paid because they've been fed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if him, the owner, he make the effort and buy for them their food and everything, so there's no zakat on them. And this is especially the Maliki school, and here, one of the shurrah who mentioned it. But according to the author, without taking in consideration this specification, the calculation of the time, the beginning of the time of the hawl, starts from the day he owned them. Okay? وإنما نص المؤلف على هذه لأن من أهل العلم من يشترط لانعقاد الحول فيما إذا ملك نصابا صغارا من حين ملكه أن يبلغ سنا يجزئ في الزكاة، لكن صواب ما قاله المؤلف. The strong opinion, the true opinion, is what the author said. The zakat, the time of the hawl starts from when? Starts from the day of the ownership. Unless if the food is being given to them, is being paid, or it has like only milk, that's he will wait when? The time they start to eat. And this is another specification, let's put it on the side. Now, to summarize this mas'ala, the one who buy new, for example, mawashi, he doesn't have to wait for a specific age to start to calculate the hawl, to consider the term of the hawl. He only calculate, or like he start the hawl from the day he bought them or the day he gained the ownership of this mashiyah. قال وإن ملك نصابا صغارا, and if he own the requirement, the nisab of young, less babies, for example, goat, انعقد الحول حين ملكه. The concluding or the beginning of the term of the hawl starts from the day he owned them. That's the meaning of it. طيب. Now, قال وإن نقص النصاب في بعض الحول، وإن نقص النصاب في بعض الحول أو باعه أو أبدله بغير جنسه لا فرارا من الزكاة انقطع الحول. واضح؟ طيب. Now we have the case here, for example, he has 40 goats, babies. During the year, they get reduced. Their number reduced less than the nisab, less than 40. He said, then he should not pay zakat. But reduced how? Example, someone has, this is mawashi or also money. Yeah? Someone, for example, let's take the example of someone have savings. Someone has, for example, 200, which is, we can consider 200 is a nisab. During the year, he used, 5, from this 200 to pay things, to buy things. Or, for example, let's say in our case, 3,500. During the year, he used $500 to buy, things. He had the remaining 3,000. Say 3,000 is less than the nisab, then he will not pay zakat. Voilà. قال أو باعه أي باع النصاب. For example, he have the nisab, he has like things that he can sell. He has 40 goat, he sold 10 of them. Remaining 30, he will not pay zakat on the 30. That's why قال انقطع الحول. So for example, in January he has 40, in June he sold 10. In June, the time of the hawl stops there because there is no zakat anymore. He will wait. If the number comes back to 40, then the time when the number comes back to 40, that's where we're going to start the new term. Someone have $5,000 in January. The due date of the zakat is the end of December, for example. If in the lunar calendar he has in Muharram, $5,000. The due date is the end of Dhul Hijjah. In Ramadan, he spent from that $5,000 $2,000 or 3,000. Remaining 2,000, in the year or the month, the month of Ramadan, in this month, the saving went down to 2,000. So there's no zakat. The term of the calculation, we're going to stop there. Wow. Now, maybe in the end of Shawwal, he get more money to save, back to $5,000. So we'll tell him, now that you get back your nisab, Shawwal is going to be the new beginning time. So if you keep this $5,000, in the end of next Ramadan, you have to pay your zakat. واضحة المسألة. طيب, that's what قال. وقال وإن ملك نصابا صغارا قضى حوله حين ملكه وإن نقص النصاب في بعض الحول أو باعه. So if the nisab is reduced during the year, there's no zakat. There's no zakat. أو باعه, as we mentioned, he sell part of it. أو أبدله بغير جنسه لا فرارا من الزكاة انقطع الحول. أبدله, he exchanged it. He has goats, he exchanged them into, for example, cows. The zakat of the goat is different than the zakat of the cow. So he might exchange them with the number of the cows, so less than the nisab. He will not pay the zakat. أبدله قال فيجب الإبدال بيع, لكن ما دام the مؤلف, the author, قال باعه أو أبدله, he sold it or he exchanged it. So it will be that exchange will be a new term, depends on the new condition that he has or the new situation that he has. أو أبدله بغير جنسه أو أبدله بغير جنسه. The first one بجنسه أو باعه أو أبدله بغير جنسه لا فرارا من الزكاة انقطع الحول. He given us example. قال إبداء جنس النصاب حقيقة إذا أبدل النصاب سائم الغنم بسائمة البقر. You have sheep and he exchanged them with cows. فإنه ينقضي الحول. At that time the حول will stop for those, and he going to restart a new calculation of the حول, based on what he had. So it's like the number of the cows he has is less than nisab, then he will wait till it get the nisab. طيب. According to the madhab, إبدال قوله لا فرارا من الزكاة. لا فرارا من الزكاة. Here, some people, they do this action, farmers, they exchange. And then they do the exchange after the due date of the zakat back. Why? Because they don't want to pay zakat. So subhanallah, this is an ill intention. قال لا فرارا من الزكاة. So if these things happen as an opportunity of investment, he wants to have cows, but not he's doing it with the intention to avoid to pay the zakat. If he does that, then the zakat is an obligation on him. Why? Because the Sharia treats him with his intention. Or you exchange it to, to run away from the zakat, then actually to be, as to be this person to be reprimanded, you say you have to pay the zakat of what you have exchanged. قال لا فرارا من الزكاة. The Prophet ﷺ said, he said, do not commit what the people of the book has committed before you by making halal what is haram with manipulation and tricks. This is haram. Because the action are governed by the intention. إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Now, if he has goats and he exchanged them with other goats, older ones, younger ones, then he will not stop the hawl. He will continue because they are the same, the same breed, the same jins, the same kind. So the first mas'ala, if you exchange the nisab with other type of animals, in the case of this case, therefore you restart the hawl, you restart the calculation of the year, of the hawl. If you exchange them from the same kind, you continue based on the calculation that you're being already followed. Example, someone Muharram, and in, for example, after years, like for example, in one of the month, let's say Safar, he exchanged them with cows and other animals. So his new calculation starts from Safar. If he exchanged them with goats, the calculation will be continuing from where he started initially, which is Muharram. That's what the author meant. I will read it again. وإن ملك نصابا صغارا انعقد حوله حين ملكه. And if he owned a nisab from young cattle, which is mean he doesn't need to wait for this animal to get to a certain age. The hawl need to start, or the calculation of the term of the hawl start from the day he owned them. وإن نقص النصاب في بعض الحول, and if the nisab is reduced or decreased during the year, or باعه, he sold some of them, or he exchanged them to another kind, the hawl stops there at the action, and he gonna restart a new hawl if he had the nisab. If he doesn't have the nisab, he will wait to have a nisab. And when he gets the nisab, that's when the hawl will start. This only with one condition: if he didn't do the exchange, or selling, or the decrease that happened, didn't do it with the intention, the ill intention to not pay the zakat. There's people that give gift to their, to their neighbors. Say, this is a gift. He has a 40. He said, keep this 5 for you. So the neighbor, he'll keep them. After the time of the hawl, for example, he comes like, let's say, January to December. He comes in the beginning of December, he said, my neighbor, you can keep this 5. Keep them, please, keep them. Fine. The other one, he's happy, he keep the 5. He came to him in January, he said, how they're doing? Good. Okay, can you get them back to me? No, because I need them. So he has 40. At the due date, in the end of December, he has 35. He doesn't pay zakat. In January, he's going to get them back. So this is hila. They say, if you do such a thing, Allah is going to punish you because you didn't pay the zakat. His neighbor has cows and he has goats. If his neighbor give him a cow for example, 20, he's not going to pay because he has less number in the cow and less number of the nisab of the thing. The same for his neighbor. So they do an exchange. So no one will pay zakat. And then they do the same exchange after the due date of the zakat. So that's why قال here قال لا فرارا من الزكاة. If they do it with a good intention, someone has a few goats, they're like sick, or someone has some of the goats that require more attention and he cannot do that, he will sell them. And it happened in the end of the year, and by the end of the due date of the zakat he has 39, he will not pay zakat. And there's no objection and blame on this person, because he was true to himself. He was someone who has a good intention. He didn't do it to avoid the payment of the zakat. وَإِنْ أَبْدَلَهُ بِجِنْسِهِ عَلَى حَوْلِهِ. And if he change and make an exchange with the same kind, so he will continue the same term of the hawl that he had it initially. واضح? Any question?
What about if someone, for example, did the intention that, just wait to not to buy the zakat and keep it extra, and maybe they don't know exactly what they have to pay back because of that, they don't know who was the place of that, and they take it that way. What can happen?
Again, can you repeat, please?
For example, they were exchanging that they just avoided to pay the zakat, but basically that person has ignored it, doesn't know this, he has to pay back the zakat, and he died in that.
More the intention, it was good or bad intention?
Probably bad intention, but doesn't know that he has to pay back.
Well, if it was bad intention, he could have repented. Because the person, when he did it, he had the bad intention, so he knew that he's doing a violation. Right? So if someone wants to repent from such a thing, truly he will ask, how is going to be my repentance? So the answer will be, your repentance is to pay the zakat after asking Allah forgiveness. And if he didn't know and he make a tawbah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive all his past sins. But the true tawbah, if someone did it because he doesn't want to pay, then the repentance, if he repented, the repentance comes with the also paying the zakat. Voila. Because someone, for example, he took money from someone. And he said, I'm not going to pay it. He knows that he's oppressing, he knows that he's doing wrong. Later on, he repented. That person that you took his money, you're going to be facing each other in the day of judgment. He's going to reclaim back his money. So the tawbah, Allah will forgive you. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this is حقوق العباد. And subhanallah, حقوق العباد, it will be, settled after the sirat. If you look at the time, or like the different steps and phases, one which was like presented, and after study and analysis, that حقوق العباد will be after the sirat. So someone, he already, subhanallah, passed the sirat, but they say, hold on, you have to cleanse and purify your relationship with the people. And that's why one of the conditions of the tawbah is someone, he need to settle what he has done to people before. Someone, he's been backbiting a person with no reason. Backbiting is haram, actually. And he repents. How he has to correct what he had done to that person? he has to make an action to correct it. That he should go to the people that he used to talk bad to them about that person, and he asked forgiveness. He said, you know, I was wrong about that person. He's a good person, this and this. So you correct what someone has done. Someone stole money. He has to give back that money. If he could not find, he said, you know, he was like, you know, person like, you know, crazy when he was young. And then later on, he doesn't know the person that he stole from. The scholar, they say, he give that money sadaqah in the name of the one who stole it. You did what someone will do, that intention. And if he doesn't have to pay, at least he turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and repented and said, Ya Allah, if you give me, I will pay it, but I cannot. So the tawbah, it has to be followed by also given back to the people their rights that have been taken from them with no right. It's fair, isn't it? Father.
Can I quickly ask a question? Just in regard to this, supposing you happen to find some money on the street, or somewhere where you're walking by, any amount, what do you do with that? You don't know who it is. You have no knowledge of it. The person probably accidentally came out of his wallet. He has no identity, nothing. The money is there. What do you do with that?
Luqta, it has its ahkam. Someone will take it and he has to announce it and advertise that a money was found in this place. Or he goes back to that place. Or there's shops around. He said, if anybody asks about money, tell them that it's been found. You can call this number. And there's a luqta, depends. Because it's something from things that people, they will neglect. Then whoever who found it becomes his. Any time frame, if the money, for example, someone finds like $10. These $10, the person who lost them, and he gonna find out, he said, I'm not gonna have, you know, put on myself a burden to go and find them. They're gone, they're gone. So which is considered something, you know, someone, if he lost them, he will, you know, it might be like you say, he have kind of hasra, but he will not get back to them. But someone, for example, he lost a pearl. This person, he's gonna come back and gonna look for it. If he lost $100, $200, he gonna come back. So if what is being lost has a value that from the nature of the society or the people you live, that they will be trying to find back. That's the one that someone cannot have a property of it. He has to announce it, to advertise it, and for some scholar, to 1 year. For others, actually more. And if someone is say, it's better for someone to not get it, he will pour it in something that it will be for, like, you know, relief or for sadaqah or things like that.
Even if there's a loose change, for example, sometimes you see at the gas station, you know, people throwing it on the
No, the loose change that I said, you know, that's no one will come back to find them. So whoever who find them, that it's his. See the difference? The difference in the value of what someone has, you know, lost or dropped. If something, I mean, the best for the believer to know, you know, if you take it, give it sadaqah or give it to someone else. But you will not be obligated to make the ishar of it. To follow up with that thing, to say, you know, something being found here, please call this phone, or you go to any shop around, and if you trust them, you say something, can I have a trust? something, and you can come back to the same person. Did the person came back or things? Why? Because of the value of the thing. But if someone knows what been found is not with that value, that someone will come back to try to find it, then he will have the freedom to manage it the way he wants. Voilà. So it's loose change. No one is gonna be like, maybe people, they don't even remember that they have, few dollars in their pocket. No, he had the freedom to dispose of that money the way he wants. But for things like the believer, he's better to give it. I mean, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you something, he's not in need of that. If he's in need of that, use it. If he's not need, give it to him. But only if this value is kind of negligent into the society living. For example, say $10. $10, you like he said, I lost $10. That's fine. But when you go some society, $10 will equal good money, maybe food for like a whole week. That's the person, it might be like, a wage or a salary for a whole day or more actually for certain people. So $10, someone need to advertise it, to try to find who the one who lost it for a certain time. Any other question? Which one?
The one you found in
You give it sadaqah?
yeah.
It depends on the amount. If it's negligent and you give it sadaqah because you could have kept it, you give it sadaqah, you have the. And the other one, if you hold it and you try to find the owner, you will be already rewarded by the action, to keep it, save it for this person. And if you don't find it and you give it sadaqah, you will have the reward, because after a certain time you have the authority or the permissibility to own it. جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله فيكم. And then we'll meet you after the not Maghrib, let's say. When you come back, you want to come back. The Maghrib is going to be 6:30.